Not here.
So today we are moving on to chapter 3. So we've completed chapter 2. That's
Whoa.
a
Major
accomplishment, milestone. And chapter 3 starts with Arjuna asking a question to Bhagavan Krishna. So to understand that question, let's just quickly see what he heard, what Bhagavan Ji said to Arjuna in chapter 2, right? He said, पहले तो अर्जुन आया उनके पास, he said, I am your shishya now, I don't know what to do, please tell me what to do, teach me. That's what he said. So Bhagavan Krishna said, okay, I'll teach you. So in the first half of chapter 2, he taught about Atma. He said, Atma, you're Atma, you will never die, you are never born, all of that. And your goal in life, the way to happiness is to understand that you're Atma. This is all about knowledge. So you have to get the knowledge that you're not this body, but you're actually Atma. This knowledge will liberate you. So this was his message in the first half of the second chapter. Then he told Arjuna, okay, now that I've talked to you about Sankhya, which is nothing but Gyan Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, same thing. Let me tell you about Karma Yoga. And he said in Karma Yoga, you have to do this. You have to do your actions, and you have to do your actions with a right attitude. You remember all the things we talked about Karma Yoga. So that actually left Arjun rather confused. So Arjun then asked Krishna Bhagwan, he said, let me share this. He said, his question, this is how the chapter 3 starts. He said, Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. He's saying, Janardan, which is another name for Krishna Bhagwan, if in your contention, knowledge is better than action, because you've already said knowledge is what you need to get moksha, then why do you impel me to do this gruesome action? And gruesome action meaning the war, for example, that was really gruesome. Why are you telling me to do that, Keshav? And then he went on to say, Vyamishren eva. That means actually Vyamishren eva. Vakyena buddhim mohyasi iva me tadekam vad nishchitya yena shreyaha aham apnuyam. So what he means is, he says it very nicely. He says with words that are seemingly contradictory. He didn't say you're contradictory because it is Krishna Bhagwan. And it tells you how you have to question. Gita will give you all kinds of questions. So this can tell you how you should question with Shraddha. Understanding that I have not understood. It's not that Gita is wrong. So he's saying, Krishna Bhagwan, you are not contradictory, but your words seem contradictory to me. You seem to confuse my mind. Because one time you're saying, go for knowledge, then you're saying, go for action. So he's saying, decide once and for all, which is better, and tell me that which I should do to gain liberation. Should I do knowledge, have knowledge, or should I go for Karma Yoga? So this was his question. And a pretty legitimate question, because, if anybody would hear the Gita for the first time, this is what they would also think. They say, what is this going on? One time you say Karma Yoga, then another time you say knowledge. What is this? What are you trying to really tell me? And there's another reason why Arjun has raised this question, because it is commonly understood that karam actually binds. Karam is the cause for bondage. One second. Okay. So it says karam is the cause of, why is karam the cause for bondage? Because when you do karam, anytime you do karam, you do it for some result, for some result or the other, to fulfill a wish, to fulfill something, even if it's a duty, you have to do it for something. And whatever you get, it doesn't satisfy you really. It just causes more desires. So what bonds us? Our bondage, for example, is we are bonded to this world by our possessions, by our relationships, by everything. That is what binds us to this world. And karam is always done to either protect those relationships or that wealth or whatever, or it is done to acquire new relationships or new wealth or new things. It's the fuel which keeps us bound. Karma is what keeps us bound. Not only does it keep us bound in this world, but it keeps us bound in the next world too, because the karam has phal, and some phal you get right now, the other phal you will get in the next janam. So you will have to come back to this world in a new body to get that new phal. So that is the thinking, that's the understanding that karma binds. And yet, Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjuna to do karma. So he is completely confused. But he's confused because he doesn't understand, because what Krishna Bhagavan is telling him is not to do karam. He's telling him to do karam yoga. There's a very big difference between doing karma and doing karam yoga. So karma binds, but karam yoga liberates. In other words, if you do the karma with the proper attitude, then it doesn't bind anymore. So let's keep going with what else he is saying.
So Nitu, just to be clear,
Yeah.
When you do karam with the expectation, that's binding, and when you do karam without the expectation, that's not binding.
Yes, when you do karam with a material expectation, it is binding.
Yeah.
When you do karam with the expectation of antakarna shuddhi,
yeah,
it is not binding. I mean, there will always be some expectation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then he says, Sri Bhagwan starts speaking then after this. So basically, what really, if you think about it, what Arjuna is saying is, what he really wants to do by saying all this is, why should I not go for sannyas? When he clarifies this further also in future, but he says, why should I not go for sannyas? Because if I need knowledge, his feeling or his understanding is that in order to get knowledge, in order to get moksha, you have to give up this world and go take up sannyas. That is his understanding. And because he's seen all that, sannyasis. So he said, why not? Why should I just fight? मैं अब सब छोड़ के इसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. मैं छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ संन्यास लेके. I will live the life of a sannyasi. I will beg for my alms. जो मुझे मिलेंगे मैं खाऊंगा. पढ़ता रहूंगा, लिखूंगा, पढ़ूंगा, knowledge करूंगा, gain करूंगा, and मोक्ष प्राप्त करूंगा. That's what I want to do. Why are you telling me do karam? So in his mind, there are two opposite things. One is sannyas, where he just follows knowledge, and the other is karam, which is where he does work in the world. And he feels karam, more and more bondage, sannyas, the way to liberation. What he doesn't understand is Krishna Bhagavan is telling him something which is kind of in the middle. He's telling him, do karam yoga. And karam yoga is not just karam, it's karam with the right attitude and also learn at the same time. So also continue to do jnana also at the same time, not that you don't do jnana. So so Krishna Bhagavan then clarifies this in the next verse. So he's saying here in the next verse, hi Kiki.
Hi.
Okay, we are in the middle of it, so we'll just continue, okay?
Sorry, I'm late.
No, that's fine. He says, Krishna Bhagavan says, Loke asmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya anagha. So he says, in this world, Loke asmin means in this world, dvividha, there are two types of nishtha. Nishtha means lifestyles. Pura, that means from old times, prokta maya, I have been saying this. I said this from old times. So ये पुराने Upanishadon में लिखा हुआ है. So that's what he's trying to say. It's mentioned in the old Upanishads. I only said it, in some previous janam, previous avatar. Anaga is just another name for Arjuna. So he's saying in this world there are two kinds of lifestyles. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. That means for people who are doing sankhya, that means who are following knowledge, sannyas. For them, there is jnana yoga. By jnana yoga for sannyasis, by karam yoga for yogis. So these are two different lifestyles, and he's saying these are the two lifestyles for people who are interested in liberation. So let's just clarify, because there are lots of terms. So first he said, there are people who are not interested in liberation. Who are not interested in liberation, who are just interested in increasing their material wealth or other things in this world, who are not seeking release from the world, who don't see this world as a bondage right now. They see their answers in this world, right? Those are karmis. You call them kama karmis. Kama means desire. Kama karmi means people who are doing their work for their desires. So that's one category of people. He is not Krishna Bhagavan is not even talking about them. Now, before Arjun had this experience in the battlefield where he realized he has to kill his grandfather and Guruji, and therefore got totally confused. Before this, Arjun was a kama karmi. This thought of going to Krishna and asking for gyan, all that never even arose in his mind. So he was busy doing his kama karmi. He was busy in his life. Then he had an experience which told him that nothing that he has understood so far or done will answer it. So he said, I seek liberation. Now he is no longer a kama karmi. He is a mumukshu in Sanskrit. Basically, he is seeking liberation. Krishna Bhagwan is talking to him because he is seeking liberation. That's why he's giving him Gita Gyan. If Arjun was not seeking liberation, there is no question of anybody giving Gita ka Gyan or Krishna Bhagwan giving Gita ka Gyan. It is only given to those who are seeking liberation. So Arjun now is seeking liberation, and what Krishna Bhagwan tells Arjun now is that there are two lifestyles for you, broad categories. One lifestyle is the lifestyle of a sannyasi. That is also a legitimate lifestyle. And another lifestyle is the lifestyle of a karam yogi. Both these lifestyles lead to liberation. The end of both is the same. But they are different. How are they different? The sannyasi lifestyle is one where a person just gives up the duties of this world. He says, I am no longer bound by the duties. I don't want to be a father, a mother, a son, anything anymore, a husband or wife. I just want to focus all on learning. So I want to understand myself. I want to learn the Shastra. I want Gyan Yoga. So this is what we've seen a lot of people do. They अपना घर त्याग के वो चले जाते हैं हरिद्वार में या कहीं पे कोई हिमालय में कहीं जाके पढ़ना शुरू कर देते हैं. They say, okay, मैं किसी I will join some group or I'll join some guru and I will just stay with him and work. And there are people we all know who've done this. So that is one lifestyle. But that is not the lifestyle that actually Bhagwan Krishna recommends for Arjun. He recommends the other lifestyle. He's been saying you be a karam yogi. That is also a legitimate lifestyle. Karam yogi means you don't leave your house. You don't leave your duties. You don't leave your children, your parents, nothing. You do all your duties living in this world. But two things. One, you do them with a different attitude. Not with an attitude of I'm doing it for a selfish gain. I want this इसलिए मैं ये कर रही हूँ. मुझे ये चाहिए. मुझे I want this for myself either in this life or the future life, or I want this wealth, or I want this relationship, or I want this punya. मुझे इसलिए चाहिए इसलिए मैं कर रही हूँ. Don't do that. Do it because it is something that needs to be done. It's the right thing to do just for that reason. And if you want to have an expectation from it, the expectation you should have legitimately is that by doing things for the right reason, without asking for too much material or any material expectation in return, you're going to achieve antakarna shuddhi. Your mind will become purified. You're going to receive happiness from your mind, not from the things that you're seeking, outside things. That is one thing. The second thing about the Karam Yoga is that you also do Gyan at the same time. You don't give up on knowledge. You don't give up on Gyan. I think I remember last time, Tony Bhaiya, you had brought this up, right? You said in Karam Yoga, you have to have Gyan also. That's what Krishna Bhagavan is also saying, that you need to have Gyan also. So spend part of your time, whatever little time you can spend on understanding the Shastra, doing some self-inquiry, listening to Gita teaching, for example, or things like that. So that is the lifestyle he calls the Karam Yoga lifestyle, and that is the lifestyle he recommends for all of us actually, not just Arjun, all of us. And he also explains why. He says it's not that sannyasi lifestyle is bad or wrong. He says that in order to have a sannyasi lifestyle, you need to already have a very pure mind. Because in the next line he explains it. He says, just because you go and sit somewhere in an ashram and cut ties with the world doesn't mean that you've actually renounced the world. That's a wrong understanding of what renunciation or tyag actually means. Because what will happen is, if your mind already has those desires and you've not tackled them, you've not tackled the desires, but you've gone and said, "Main to sannyasi ban jaungi," then you'll sit down to meditate and you won't be able to meditate. Instead of meditation, you'll be thinking about the things you left behind. You'll be thinking about all the past hurts, past grievances, all the pleasures, all the things you're missing out. You'll be thinking about all that. And you will be completely frustrated. It'll be worse than just being in the world. So very few people actually, when like Swamiji holds these courses and all, they have 3-year courses. Not everybody is deemed qualified to be a sannyasi. So most people are told, keep learning, go back into your life and keep learning, because you still have to deal with your desires, all kinds of issues, anxieties, desires, which are all there in us. We have to deal with them. And the way to deal with them is by engaging in the world. That's the only way to deal with them. Because when you engage in the world and talk to people, you get feedback from people. The difference now is, instead of getting upset at the feedback, oh, वो कह रहे हैं कि मैं ऐसी हूँ, मैं वैसी हूँ, instead of getting upset, look at it as an opportunity to change yourself. But if you go and sit in a cave, you have no source of feedback. You have nobody telling you anything. You're living in your own dreams. So you have no idea what is going on with you. So engagement with the world. So that's why Karam Yoga, they say, is about proper engagement with the world. Engaging with the world in a way that you can truly engage. You're not engaging, getting hurt, and then drawing back. Then getting hurt and then drawing back. You are engaging. And you're getting the feedback. You're objectively looking at the feedback you're getting. You're seeing what you're doing wrong. You're figuring out how to fix it. All of that is going on when you're doing Karam Yoga. It's not going on when you're doing Kama Karmi. As a Kama Karmi, you're back and forth. So that's why Krishna Bhagavan says Karam Yoga is absolutely vital for all of us, because it will help us with improving our own self. Okay? So, and at the same time, you do your Gyan also, because the Gyan will also help you. And it'll keep you motivated as to why you're doing this. Why is it that you're trying to say that I want my Antakarna Shuddhi? You're doing it because you understand that any lasting satisfaction is coming from yourself, not from the world. So that's what Gyan Yoga will clarify for you also. So that's his recommendation to Arjun. So he says, so now you can see Loke Asmin, in this world, 2 kinds of Nishtha. Nishtha means lifestyle, that I have said from long time. For the Sankhya Nam, for those who are the sannyasis, who qualify to be a sannyasi, is okay, Gyan Yoga. But for most of us, we are Yogi Nam. We are Karam Yogis. For us, there is Karam Yoga. Then he goes on to say, Na karmanam anarambhat naishkarmayam purusha ashnute. This is very important. Na cha sannyasat eva siddhim sama agachati. Here he's saying, let me read out, a person does not gain the state of actionlessness, that's nashkarmaya, by non-performance of actions. Nor does the person attain success, which is what he wants to do, liberation, out of mere renunciation or sannyas. So he's trying to tell us what renunciation actually means. So naishkarmaya, this word here, naishkarmaya, means renunciation. Right? You must have heard this word in the past. So he's saying renunciation is not achieved by not doing actions, nor is sannyas achieved by just not doing anything and going somewhere and sitting and saying, "Main sannyasi ban gaya." Renunciation is not about renouncing actions or renouncing this world. Renunciation is about renouncing doership, understanding who is actually doing this world. It's renouncing the ego. And that also is a very tricky thing, because you can't renounce the ego. I'll tell you a very, very interesting. There's a very interesting uh, uh, little verse that Swamiji refers here from the Mahabharata. It says, I won't share it with you because it's just a small verse. I'll just speak it out to you and I'll explain. It says, Tyajya dharma adharmam cha. That means give up or tyag both dharma and adharma. That is, he's talking about true renunciation. What is renunciation? Give up both dharma and adharma. Ubhe satya teja. Also give up both satya and anrita, which is both the truth and the false. Give up both. Give everything up. Ubhe satya tyaktva, having given up both the truth and the false, yena tyajasi tatyaja. That means now give up the one who has given up. Give up the one who gives up. See, what it means is that when we say, मैं तो सन्यासी बन गई या मैं तो सन्यासी बन गया, right? Or I have given up this world. It's a very dicey statement because this sense of me is still very strong. And it's saying, oh, this sense of me, because the me got hurt in the world, किसी ने कुछ somebody got hurt you, you say, no, I'm going to give up the world. वो था ना, मैं तो ये दुनिया छोड़ के मैं चला गया, वही गाना था उसमें, I remember in some movie, ये दुनिया ये महफिल मेरे काम की नहीं. Something like that. There was a song. ये दुनिया ये महफिल मैं तो छोड़ गया दुनिया को. So that's the sign of a person who's just got hurt. So he will say, oh, मैंने दुनिया छोड़ दी. But that person is still that little individual in there. He's not given up his ego. He's not thinking about himself as Ishwar or anything like that. It's still that individual. So only that individual, only the ego says, I am giving up the world. So giving up the world like this is not possible. Because then Mahabharata mein jo tha would say, okay, now you give up the ego also. And then you'll be stuck. Who's going to give up the ego? Somebody has to give up. That giving up thing is the ego itself. So how do you give up? So to say that I'm going to give up this world, go to the Himalayas, do this, do that, is, in fact, in the next line, Bhagwan says, he calls it, I think he calls it Mudhachara or something like that. It means like a stupid fool, the person who does this, who gives up the world and goes out. Something like a very bad term he uses for them. He says, that is stupid. You stay in this world. Huh? Kya? Sorry. So he says renunciation is not about giving up actions. Then he's also saying the next one, do action that is to be done because action is superior to inaction. Even the maintenance of your body would be impossible by inaction. So to say that I'm going to be inactive is impossible. Like, are you going to stop breathing also? Are you going to ask your cells to stop reproducing? Are you going to stop eating, stop digesting? Like, so many things are happening in your body. Some actions are even involuntary. Even voluntary actions, how can you give up? You can't give up. What are you going to do? Stop seeing also? Close your eyes? Closing your eyes is also an action. So this idea of giving up action is silly. So don't think about that. Even giving up the ego is silly because who will give up the ego? The ego only can give up the ego. So true renunciation per Bhagwan Krishna in the Gita is about knowledge. It's about understanding. It's about understanding that I am not the one who's doing all these actions. In some sense, I am. But really, this world around me, everything around me, Ishwar, is contributing to all of this. So today, if I'm a successful person, let's say today I, Dheeraj, have studied the Gita and I've spent my time learning Sanskrit. I'm very proud. See, I learned Gita in Sanskrit, right? I did it. That is silly. That's not renunciation. Only if I understand that I did it because God gave me the opportunity. For some reason, He gave me a lifestyle and a wife who doesn't want too much. She said, I'm fine with little. I have a little bit. I can afford not to work. Um, and He has given me a buddhi which can understand these things. So I'm doing it. So the doer is not really me, you know. or I can't be proud that I have done this, then I'm not a renunciate. But if I can live my life understanding that the doership is not really me, it's all kinds of things, then I am a sannyasi by nature. That is what sannyasi is. He calls it a gyan karam sannyasa. That means karam sannyas through gyan. In fact, chapter number 4 of the Gita is titled Gyan Karam Sannyas. Doing karam sannyas through gyan. That's the only way to do sannyas, to do karam sannyas. Right? So that's the main thing. Let me just see. I made some notes this time because this was a little complicated. So we talked about karam yoga as bondage. Karma is bondage, karam yoga is not bondage. Sannyas versus karam yoga, nishtha and lifestyle. Sannyas is renunciation, right? Okay. So sannyas, just to clarify, when we say sannyas versus karam yoga, we are talking about lifestyle, right? But when we say sannyas as tyag, renunciation, that is not about lifestyle. That is can be done in any lifestyle, whether you're a sannyasi or a karam yogi. And that sannyas means the giving up or understanding that you are not the doer. Giving up the doership, that is what renunciation means. So that's all I have for today in terms of my portion. But I want to leave enough time for us to discuss. I mean, we can go further also if you want, but I think these are important things to just talk about. So I'm going to shut this thing off and let's talk. Anybody has anything to say?
That's the question I have.
Yeah.
That it said that even if you think you are not doing actions, you will be bound by Prakriti to be doing something, and bound by Prakriti and what is they call gunas, right?
Gunas, exactly. That's
Right.
exactly the next line of the
So,
next slok.
so explain that a little bit. By Prakriti means nature, gunas nature, meaning the nature of yourself, the way you are, rajas, tamas, sattvic,
Yes,
whatever.
those are the gunas. So no,
Right.
it means ke basically it's saying ke the way the world has been created, the way Maya is, these Prakriti, Guna, Maya, they're all the same thing. Don't think about it as different. They're just different angles to approach the same thing. What it's saying is that the way the world has been created, this world, action is part and parcel of it. Everything is constantly moving. You cannot think of even one thing which is still. Like even an electron, which is the very basics of us, is rotating all the time around a nucleus, right? Within that, the quarks are constantly moving. So, and that is from the very fundamental level, but up to even our level, everywhere, you'll see that it is impossible to be still. This is one of Gita's very key messages throughout the Gita. It says that the world is a world in motion. That's why Gita is so big on karma. Karma is the
So,
most natural thing. Yeah.
so when you are meditating, for instance, and you're trying not to think about anything or whatever, then that's contradictory to what Gita is saying to that you're constantly in motion. That
No.
you're
So
constantly.
again, that is a wrong understanding of meditation, right? Just like he says about sannyas, you can say sannyas means giving up. Meditation doesn't mean giving up of action. Meditation means it depends, what level of meditation you're talking about. Meditation means also understanding through meditation that I am still, I am the Atma, I am still. Atma is the only thing which is not moving. It is completely still. So when you do meditation in Vedanta or with the Gita, the meditation is only to see and observe that everything is in motion. You come to this realization through meditation that everything is moving. A thought comes and goes. Nothing is still. Breath is coming and going. Right? People, perceptions are coming and going. You'll say everything is moving, yet, I am still. That stillness which you will feel in meditation, that I is the Atma. That Atma is still, everything else is moving. So Prakriti is that everything else. And Purusha is Atma. right? So meditation's purpose is not to become still. Meditation's purpose is to observe how everything keeps moving,
Correct.
right? And then that you are the one which has never changed, never moved. If you think about in meditation, you think about how you were when you were a little girl, and now it's the same you. Actually, there's no change. All your surroundings have changed, but you can still identify with that same. It's the same you. The you doesn't change, and that's the Atma.
Yeah.
Nita, Tony Bhaiya, you're muted.
Yeah, so I still come back to the doer and the action. There is one circumstance that happens to one person, they take one kind of action. Same circumstance happens to another person, they take another kind of action. That action is done by the person or not. I'm still, this is my original question, but back to it again.
Yes.
Confused again.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you tell me, I mean, what do you think? Like, what's the difference between, let's say I am one person and you are another person, or you and Mita are two different people. When two people do different things, what is the difference due to?
It's, my makeup, what my makeup is versus
Correct.
your makeup, right? So it's experiential, it's what we have seen
Absolutely.
or whatever, and
Yeah.
I process that information or that input, and I take action according to processing that.
Right.
She has the same information, I mean, the same input, but her processing is slightly different because of her experiential.
Right.
So is that God, Ishwar, who is the
No,
doer
no,
in
no, 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 no. I mean, I think you're answering your own question. The difference is the way that you process, right? In the two of you. Maybe your brains are wired differently. Your bodies are different. Your experiences are different. As long as you keep equating yourself with your experiences, with your brains, with your body, with your reactions, you will always feel that there's a difference. You are still the doer. What Gita is asking you to do is to say, understand that the reason that you responded differently from Mita is because your whole getup, your whole setup is different than Mita's. Your brain is different, it's wired differently, your genetics are different, your body is different, your experiences and circumstances are different. It's those things which you did nothing about. They were coming from God. Those are the things which are making the difference
that
between you
part
and
is the
Mita.
doer? Okay,
Right? So those are the doers, you could say.
okay,
But detach yourself from that and understand that you are Atma,
yeah,
right? Because if you don't do that, you have to land somewhere. You
yeah.
have to say, what am I? Either I'm the Atma or I'm the body and mind. If you're not the Atma, then you are the body and mind, then you will be the doer, then you will be different, you will have an ego, you will have all those things. Right? Renunciation means renouncing all this mechanism, this apparatus, of the brain, the body, the mind, all these things, which is reacting to the world, which is acting. This whole apparatus, you renounce. How do you renounce? By saying, it exists, absolutely. But I realize that this is given by God. This is not me. I am Atma. I am the consciousness Atma. That's how you realize it. And that's what true renunciation is. Because that will make you will see, it will make you less proud.
Yeah.
It'll make you less angry. It'll make all those things. That is Karam Yoga, right? And it'll make you more happy. That's the end goal that's the real bottom line. It'll truly make that's the thing.
In my experiences,
So,
I have seen that a lot of inputs from the world, from the surroundings, make me who I am, and I had nothing to do with that.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly right.
And that's a,
acquiring,
Anji?
so So what we were talking about is Tony's thinking of the experiences, the brain wiring, the whatever makes him react differently. Is that what the gunas are also?
So gunas, yes, exactly. So gunas and Maya. So all this, what we call very big picture. In everywhere we'll see there are only two things. Okay, one is Atma, and that is the same Atma. Tony, me, Mirita, you, everybody. And let's not go there. It's the same Atma. It's hard to understand, but take it from me. It's the same Atma. There's one Atma, and then there is Maya. You can look at Maya as gunas. Right? Maya consists of what? In Vedanta, they say Maya consists and comprises of three gunas. And those three gunas are always existing. Any place you see, they will always be Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Because that is what Maya is constituted of. And the play of this Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas is what creates this world. That's how Maya creates the world.
But does that also create the way we respond?
Yes, everything. How we respond. Yeah. We respond meaning how your apparatus responds.
Yeah, exactly.
It creates the wiring. It creates everything. So it creates the reactions too. Everything
my
is
brain, yeah.
Right.
But through Gyan Yoga, you can change that.
No. So you through Karam Yoga, you can change that. Through Gyan Yoga, you can understand.
You can understand, and therefore allows you to change it through Karam. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather, actually, yes. Actually, it's the other way around, Tony Bhaiya. It's that to understand it properly, right, is what Krishna Bhagavan is telling Arjun, that to understand it properly, that means to be a true sannyasi, to understand it, you need to be able to deal with your desires and things. And, right now, when I'm telling you all this, you can conceptually understand. Let me talk about me. I can conceptually understand this, that yes, I am not the body and the apparatus and everything. I am the Atma. I can understand this conceptually. But when this class is over and I go out and somebody says something to me, I will forget all about it. I will react like, oh, somebody has hurt me, right? That's because I'm full of what Krishna Bhagavan calls impurities in my mind, right? I'm full of raga,
the Gyan Yoga, Nitu, that's where, again, my limited understanding. So the Gyan Yoga helps me understand me, and therefore my Karam Yoga allows me to adjust, because I'm understanding through Gyan Yoga that these are the things that I have, and I got to be conscious of it, and therefore ability to change through the action that I take.
Yes, I think we are just you're right. I agree with you. Both of them work on each other. But I think the what I was trying to say and what Krishna Bhagavan was trying to say is that the end result right now, I think this is my feeling. I could be wrong. I think you're seeing your end goal to be, how can I behave better in this world? How can I relate better to this world, right? Yeah. You're not yet seeing your end goal as achieving moksha.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So for you, I understand what you're saying. But in general, if your end goal does become achieving moksha, which it will become, I think, then you will say that is most important to me. Yeah. Reacting with the world and understanding with the world and all that is a means to an end.
Yeah, exactly. Nitu. So the way I process it so far is that I can get better at this, and then that will allow me to have more tranquility, which is the moksha part of it.
Yes.
I'm on a sort of a path trying to get myself to that first or whatever zero stage, to be able to learn, understand, act, and therefore get more comfortable with myself and surroundings. And then as I do that, then I can go on to the next step of more tranquility.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I think it's 100% fine. I mean, otherwise it's just somehow you have to create a framework, right? So this is just a framework.
Guys, you're going a little too fast. So please back up a little bit.
Distracted.
No. Back up a little bit. You said something about those three things. What was that? What are those three things that you said?
Sattva, Rajas,
three gunas.
Three gunas.
Explain it in little simple English. Or
Sattvic, Tamas.
So the three gunas, there you said there are three things which comprise a guna. What is that?
Not guna.
Which comprise Maya.
Maya.
Three gunas, there are three gunas that comprise Maya.
What is those
Like
three?
why? Like it's saying when we say Maya ka khel hai, ye sab Maya kar rahi hai. How does Maya? What is Maya? So Maya is comprising of three gunas: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And
What?
the Sattva is the guna, that part of Maya, which which allows Maya to understand. So your brain understands, right? It processes information. It contemplates. That thing comes from Sattva. Rajas is that part of guna which allows or compels motion. Because all of Maya has Rajas in it, all of Maya is constantly in motion, is always moving. Tamas is the part of the of part of Maya, which is the opposite of Sattva. It produces ignorance. So we say, I am ignorant, I am lazy, all these things. It's all Maya that comes from the Tamas. So these three properties of Maya, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, are mixed up in varying proportions depending on what it is we are made of. So when we are thinking about the mind, our mind is predominantly Sattva. Predominantly Sattva. That is why the mind reflects consciousness, they say. That is why the mind understands. That's why, it's all our understanding comes from there. Our organs of action are predominantly Rajas. So our organs that make us walk and things like that, they're predominantly Rajas, right? And the gross universe, I mean, these are all subtle things I was talking about. Mind and organs of action are all subtle. I'm talking about subtle organs of action and subtle organs of perception. That means not these hands, but the part of me that compels motion. My hand is not deciding to move. My hand is just an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in my brain, something in my mind which says, move, move your hand, right? And that moves the hand. That is that thing which in my brain is or in my mind is saying move. That's the organ of movement. There is some part of my mind which says I can see. That's the organ of sensory organ. Because the eyes don't see. Eye is just like a camera. I can replace the lens and put a new lens. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. I already have with cataract. So so in the mind itself, the subtle mind, the subtle body, there is sattva and rajas predominantly. The gross body is made out of tamas. This all the rocks, the world, the body, हमारी जो बाहर का शरीर है, the trees, the mountains, the rivers, everything, all the matter, the solid matter that we see, is all basically predominantly tamas. It goes through a process called panchikarma, but doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's basically tamas. But it's not that it's only tamas. It's not only tamas, it's mainly tamas. So that is how Maya creates this world. This is the theory. Through the use of these three gunas. Now you can also use the gunas to describe the mind, to describe a person. That's a different thing. That's just a way to use it. To say this person is very sattvic. That means in this person as a whole, in this apparatus, that Tony Bhaiya was describing, the apparatus, sattvic tendencies are most common compared to others. That means this person is even-tempered, is knowledgeable, is calm. So that's the sattvic tendencies are more common. Now, most of the Raja, Maharajas and all that, they could say they're basically Rajasic because they're dynamic. Like they want to take action. They'll say, yeah, let's go, right? So that's a predominance of Rajasic Guna. That's how we describe them. But that's not what actually Guna means. Guna is just how Maya is consisting of three Gunas. And a Tamasic person would be like a Rakshas. We say there is a Tamasic. A couch potato. बैठ के ना टीवी देख रहा है और कुछ नहीं करना उसको. That's kind of tamasic. So you say his mind has been overtaken by tamas, because tamas is all darkness and laziness and like settled down sloth, So that's how they describe it.
Okay, so now the next question was, how was it all connected to the next?
To the what?
So you described that, and then how was this connected to the next part of your
No,
conversation?
I was just saying that Didi brought this in.
Mhm.
I was only saying that, and Didi was saying that the motion, the movements in this world, the world is constantly moving. The karmas, all this happens because of these gunas. And I said, yeah, that's right. It's more specifically because of the rajas guna, right? You're constantly moving. Everything is constantly moving. And I was explaining how you cannot think, can you think of anything which is not moving, which is not changing? You really try. I mean, I tried. You cannot think of anything which is, even, a pillar, वो जो क्या था स्तंभ था ना उसका, अशोका का जो पिलर था स्टील का खड़ा हुआ है उस पे भी जंग लग रहा है धीरे धीरे. Like some change is always happening everywhere, right? So that's Rajas Guna in action.
Okay.
For Vedanta. What else, Mita? For Billu?
Billu's
Little
turn.
little
Huh?
complicated.
Complicated?
No.
Yeah.
Thoda that's yeah. No, because pehle we were talking about something else, and
Right.
then Didi brought this about these the three sattvic, tamas, and rajas. So that is actually a little different than the path you were on when what you were teaching.
Right.
You know. Hmm.
But
This is
did you understand? I mean, like, we can follow the Gita path, right? So when the guna ka chapter aayega Gita mein aage,
I know. I think
so then we
I
will
know.
talk
Also,
about it.
foods are also said to be classified into
Right,
all
right.
these three,
Yeah,
sattvic and
yeah.
tamas, and also this is.
So
But I
all
didn't
that
know
will
that it is
come.
the Maya which is made up of all these things. I thought
Right.
basically it is the personalities and the foods and the natures to which to describe these three characters.
It's all Maya
The
only now.
sun.
All Maya. And then everything which you see in this world, which is made up of something or the other, is all Maya. That's what it's made up of. जो भी दिखता है ना वो माया है.
What about
जो
the Maya
दिखता है.
word as money? Is that different?
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
that is
wonder
a
how that
literal
came
meaning.
about. I don't know how
Literal.
that came about. That is
Yeah,
all.
Maya is wealth actually. Literal meaning to.
Yeah.
Matlab what we are taught in vocabulary and in the languages.
Maya
Though
means
in
that which is not there is Maya.
Oh, so money that's not there. Is that?
No, no. I mean, etymologically, Maya means that which doesn't. Ma means no. Ya
Uh,
means that which is not there.
Ma means mummy.
Okay, I'm talking about Sanskrit. So, well, ma means many things.
So say more Maya.
Mo means delusion. Mo means confusion. Whereas I always
It's
thought that
also
mo
attached
means
to that.
attachment, right?
Yeah.
But actually,
More
what
Yeah.
Maya.
mo means is confusion. And I think what they mean is that this attachment causes confusion. Just like it caused confusion for Arjun, his attachment to, he got totally confused what to do.
mm.
So Maya in terms of wealth, Maya in terms of more Maya,
Yeah.
and Maya in
But
terms of Prakriti.
yes, but Maya, when we talk about Maya in Gita,
It's
it
all.
means Prakriti.
Gunas.
Yes, it means the three gunas. Exactly. But Billu, did you understand the part about renunciation? What it
Yeah,
means?
yeah.
Huh?
Bilkul understood it, yes.
Rupa,
But
what about
it has
you?
to sink in, yeah. Mm.
Rupa? You're muted, Rupa. You have to unmute. Rupa?
I think she's talking because of her throat.
Oh, okay, okay.
All this is, Nitu, when you're talking about all this, it all sinks in. But when you go away, it goes.
Goes away.
Yeah, it goes.
Nitu has to be on call 24/7.
Well, I mean, that's why it's a process.
Complicated and
Yeah.
and complex, and yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
You have to live in it, sort of. I mean, it's like I feel like I go live my life after this,
Yeah.
and it all goes away because I'm not paying as much attention to it all the time as I need to or should. and that's also an evolution.
But I think what
Rupa's
happens is
unmuted now.
that, oh, Rupa, you're unmuted now. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me just finish my quick thought and then I'll come. Tony Bhaiya ko कहने लगा था, because he says that, but what you might realize, Tony Bhaiya, I think, is that the seed has been sown and there are minor changes which are happening. You know, it's like you don't realize the changes yourself. Till one day you'll say, okay, oh yeah, I'm like this now. 1 year ago or 2 years ago, I used to be like this. It's like such a minor, धीरे धीरे घड़ी की सुई को देखो ना, वो आवाज तो दिखता नहीं है कि वो चल रही है. But after some time you see कि जा चुकी है वो थोड़ा, you know, it's pointing in a different direction now. So it's like that.
No, I do see myself checking myself in certain circumstances.
And then, you know, and Carol used to say it's like a bonfire. In the beginning, to light a bonfire, you need a lot of उसको धुआं फूंक मारनी पड़ती है, पंखा देना पड़ता है, करना पड़ता है. After some time it lights up, and then when the wind comes, instead of extinguishing it, it makes it even more big. So
What kind of changes do you see? I mean, how do you see a change in yourself? Have you
I was talking about change in Tony Bhaiya and you.
No. I'm just asking, not specifically to you, but what sort of changes can you expect in a person, even though they are minor, or what will happen? Like, if you think I'm going to change, what changes will I see in
So
myself?
you will see yourself getting more peaceful, reacting less.
The whole thing is calmness.
Son, a bad person can become a good person. That's a change. A
Right.
good person can become a bad person. That's a change.
A good person can become a better person.
Yeah, like it could be right. And that's what I understand. Changes that you make changes as you go along.
But
Your thinking process changes.
well, so what will become what?
Better.
Mita will slowly become Nittu.
But I want to, before Rupa goes on to mute again.
Mita will slowly become Nittu.
Right. Ask Rupa.
Rupa,
I don't know.
what are you? How did you understand what is going on? Do you have any thoughts? After that, we will let you go. You can get back to mute.
No, I'm all confused.
You're all confused. Okay, Mo.
Talk about it. Talk about your
Mo.
confusion. What is
Yeah.
it? What are you thinking?
I still haven't understood anything.
Okay, let's start off with what? Which part?
So you knew.
Hmm?
Saying
No,
that, but understanding.
I haven't understood much.
Need to ask her what you understood from today.
No, Nitu, you explain again. So,
No,
so
yeah.
you're basically saying that you'll gain more peace, right? That's what the purpose of
Right.
this
Yes.
whole, is
Right.
to get more peace, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
And what we were talking about today was one part of it. We were saying Bhagavan Krishna, how he describes renunciation or tyag,
right,
means by sannyas.
right.
So he said sannyas you can take even living in this world, being completely active. In fact, he gives the example in the Gita of Raja Janak,
Mm-hmm.
who was a king. He
Mm-hmm.
was totally active in this world. He was doing everything. He was included in politics also. Look at Krishna Bhagavan himself. He was so political, He was सब कुछ कर रहा था. It's not कि वो शरीफ से बैठे हुए हैं, taking for a ride. Nobody could take him for a ride. So he was all that, and yet he could renounce. Meaning, in other words, he always knew that he is not the doer. So renunciation doesn't mean that you have to give up things and go away. Renunciation is an attitude or a knowledge or an understanding that you renounce the things which are not yours. The things which you falsely claim to be you renounce them. So what are the things you falsely claim to be you? This body, this mind, this knowledge, this attitude and approach, all your children, all your relatives, all your wealth. You claim it to be yours. You just have to drop the claim. You can still have the wealth. Just understand, just drop the claim. So, and that is actually more difficult in a way than walking away from wealth. Very interesting. एक मैं आपको स्टोरी बताता हूँ. एक बार ना अर्जुन and Karan, they both went to Krishna Bhagwan and said कि मेरे को क्या करना चाहिए, कुछ बात कर रहे थे, and Krishna Bhagwan said, donate, let's see how you give up your wealth, donate, a lot of money. So पहले अर्जुन ने खूब सारा, उसके पास था ना गोल्ड के सिक्के थे, उसने कहा मैं ये डोनेट कर रहा हूँ. कृष्ण भगवान ने कहा वेरी गुड. सो ही वेंट टू द विलेज, टोल्ड द पीपल आई एम गिविंग दिस डोनेशन नाउ, this is for all of you, and who is the most needy? The one who's most needy will get the most, the one who's less needy will get less. ऐसे ऐसे करके he devised a system, of how he will donate it, over what time it will be given, all that. That was one. Then करण को पूछा भगवान ने, करण ने कहा हाँ ये मेरे पैसे हैं, वो उसने जाके विलेजर को कहा मैंने दे दिए, ये पड़े हैं, फिनिश्ड, do what you want, I have given it to you. सो भगवान जी ने एक्चुअली बुलाया उन दोनों को, कहा से कहते हैं लुक एट व्हाट डोनेशन एक्चुअली मींस. बिकॉज अर्जुन, तुमने डोनेट क्या करा? तुमने पैसे तो वहां दे दिए, लेकिन कंट्रोल तो अपने पास ही रखा. ये इसके पास जाना चाहिए, ये उसके पास जाना चाहिए, ये इतना जाना चाहिए, ये उतना जाना चाहिए. दिस इज नॉट डोनेशन. करण, he donated, he just gave it. He left it to God, he left it to everything else to take care of it. From his side, the matter is gone, it's finished. Is true donation. So that is the example I was giving because it struck me as a very interesting example. Renunciation is something like that only. That you're living in this world and you're worried कि मेरी हेल्थ खराब हो जाएगी, मेरा ये खराब हो जाएगा, मेरे पैसे खत्म हो जाएंगे, मेरा वो हो जाएगा. That is not, and साथ में तुमने थोड़ा दान कर दिया. That is not renunciation. Renunciation means you're living in all of this and you're not concerned at all after that because you know that that is not yours. God will take care of things. Now, of course, I'm giving an extreme example. I'm not saying that we should become like that. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just trying to make a point that renunciation is about ownership, about doership, not about the material itself.
So, Nittu, you've reached that stage where you don't worry about anything. You feel God will take
I've
care of
reached the stage by reading the Gita and understanding what it means. Actually doing it, I am I am like miles and miles and miles away from that stage. Okay? There's no such stage that I have reached.
The way I look at it is, I'm not worried about the end point at this point in time because I know that the journey is long. So I'm not looking at the end point. One of the ways I look at this is, I think calmness of mind is very critical. And how do you get that? And how do you get that calmness of mind is through this Gyan Yoga and Karam Yoga. The calmness of the mind comes in if I'm not expecting results from the actions that I'm taking. If I'm expecting results, I'm not calm. I'm agitated because I'm looking for that result. I'm waiting for the result. And when the result comes, I'm on to the next. So you can have various stages of how you work, how your mind works. You got to work it with your sensitivities and sensibilities, and not worry about the end game. But I'm looking for that tranquility because that tranquility is far, 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 far away. Look at the immediate next step. Do that, master it. Do that next step. Do that, master it. Keep moving, and keep going in that direction. It's sort of how I feel at this point in time.
Yeah. No, I like that.
But how do you do something and not expect results? That's the difficult one.
That's what you have to, Gyan Yoga, you have to understand it and not have that expectation.
You can expect results also, Mita. It's not that you should not expect results. But you should not expect.
You should not get agitated by the result.
Yeah.
Right.
And whatever it is, take it in your stride.
Yeah. Don't let it get
accept it as a prasad.
Get to you.
I mean, it's like don't expect from the result something that the result cannot give you. That means don't expect from the result the peace of mind that the result can't give you. Although you can expect, I mean, like, obviously, if, let's say, you are doing some work, you will expect, say, I'll be successful in doing it, right? But what we actually expect is not just that result. We expect that with that result, I will become happier. I'll become happy. That's
People will think
real
better of me.
expectation.
People will think better of me, and that makes me happy. Yeah, those kinds of things.
Correct. So it's the last step, which is that this result is going to give me peace. That's the incorrect. It has nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with spirituality. It has to do with objectively seeing how this world is. It's just the way it is that we think that those things, our mind has been conditioned that those things will bring me peace and happiness. It just doesn't. So understanding that is what is Karma Yoga. To say, okay, I will do it, ये भी हो जाएगा, वो भी हो जाएगा, नहीं होगा तो मैं वैसे कर दूंगी, सब कुछ. But at the end of the day, knowing where your peace is coming from within you. That knowledge is, first, it is a bookish knowledge. First, it is the knowledge like we are all talking about. But it has to become experiential knowledge. You have to actually see that happening in your life. For that experiential knowledge, you need to do a little bit of Karma Yoga. You need to kind of start dipping your toe in. Right?
So you basically do what you ever have to do to the best of your ability, and just
do
that's
whatever you have to do to the best of your ability. Absolutely.
in your
And don't.
best of-
And if you're expecting, and catch yourself if you're expecting from it something that it cannot give you.
That's true, but you do need to expect, if you're doing something, that is because you have an expectation to get some result.
Of course.
You may not let it bother you to that extent, but you
No.
do
The only
expect the
reason
result.
why, that's absolutely true, and you have an expectation of result, but you should have an expectation of a realistic result. Right?
Yeah.
Let's say, right? If for example, मैंने कहूँगा मैं पढ़ूंगा, पढ़ के मैं I have given myself 1 year, उसके बाद पढ़ने के बाद I will become a rocket scientist. That's an unrealistic result, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Meeta ka expectation hai, मैंने I want to achieve something, go somewhere, buy something, do something, earn money, whatever. That is a fair expectation. You may be very qualified, you may be in a position where you can earn a lot of money. That's a fair expectation. But if you then start expecting because of that money, I'm going to get tranquility, that's an unrealistic expectation. That expectation will not be met because that money is going to bring you more greed, not more tranquility. That is what Gita is trying to tell you.
So even if it's a realistic expectation,
Right.
and it's not met for any kind of variable, to not be agitated, what I'm understanding is that even if it's a realistic expectation, you put in everything, that's a realistic expectation, not that you'll become a rocket science, yet that doesn't materialize. Then also not to be agitated is what you need to understand. You may go back and do a root cause analysis or whatever you want to do, but again, not to be agitated to the point of getting depressed and morose and whatever.
Right. But and the only thing I will add to that, Didi, is that you will not be able to help not getting agitated. You can force yourself not to get agitated for a little bit, a little longer, but at some stage, your willpower will break.
Right.
Because the reason that you're getting agitated is because you may think that I was only expecting a realistic result. But the reason why, if I'm doing it, let's say my example, if I'm getting agitated, is because actually I'm expecting an unrealistic result. Actually, I expected it to bring me happiness. My agitation comes because I become unhappy. That causes my agitation. If by not achieving something, even if it's a realistic result, you're finding yourself getting unhappy, that means you expected something from that which has to do with your happiness. See, if as long as you don't understand your actual source of happiness, like let's say, I don't want to take personal examples, but I'm going to make one exception of Suresh Bhaiya this time, okay, with his permission. Let's say Suresh Bhaiya says, I remember this because he has said this very often to me. He says, I get up in the morning, I'm alive, I'm working, everything is fine, I'm happy, right? Now, let's say if that is the source of your happiness, okay, if that is the source of your happiness, Then tomorrow, if your roof starts leaking, or something else starts happening, you'll be less likely to be agitated. It's I know this maybe not be good. In other words, the Gyan Yoga, this part which tells you that your happiness comes from yourself, from within, is a very important component of this whole exercise. Because if that was not the case, if you didn't realize that your happiness is coming from within, you will get agitated. It will be most natural for you to get agitated.
Yeah,
But
but
if, you know what I'm saying? No. Meeta, sorry. नहीं समझ आया?
नहीं, आगे
No,
आगे
the example didn't relate to this, I felt.
I know this is not a good example, but it just struck me because I think मेरे को personally that statement has hit home to me some time back, so I just brought it in. Anyway,
Me too, but with the things that we do in our regular everyday life, I mean, whether we get the results we want or we don't want, I don't think they lead to that much agitation, the way you are saying. I mean, at least to me, if I have to do something 3 times because it didn't work out the first time, it doesn't give me like despair or, oh my God, I'm so
yeah.
agitated or frustrated. These are I mean,
That's also a good
we
point.
So
are
that's good. Now, Meeta, you've crossed the first path, that means.
no, but
You're on to stage 2. No, it's true, वैसे, but what you're saying is very true. We don't get so into it कि ओहो पता नहीं क्यों हो गया तो खराब भी हो गई उन तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. We
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
think
whether
so much.
whether it is like you have to do it again, some work you have to do it again, or even if it is a little bit of maybe like it doesn't cause that much fluctuations in our
So
days.
the only thing I'll say there is something which Carol told me once.
Uh-huh.
We were talking about vairagya. So she said, if you look around you, with 99.999% of the things around you, you have vairagya. सूडान में क्या हो रहा है, कौन मर रहा है, वैराग्य. इंडिया में इलेक्शन कौन जीता, वैराग्य. तुम्हारे नेबरहुड में क्या हो रहा है, वैराग्य. With most of the world, you have vairagya. But something happens to your husband or child, the vairagya is gone. So vairagya, there's only one thing that you need, right? So you can say, I don't get affected, I don't get influenced. And that is up to you to figure out, because I don't know your life. It's up to you to figure out. But if you're looking for vairagya in yourself, you'll find it. If you're looking for rag in yourself, you'll find that too.
Okay, viragya is indifference, right?
Indifference or detachment.
Okay, and then rag is what? Happiness?
Is attachment.
Attachment.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So the main thing is from today is, have we understood what renunciation means per Krishna Bhagwan? And what renunciation does not mean?
Yes.
That we do not need to renounce this world to have renunciation.
Yep.
So we do not need to renounce activities. We do not need to renounce actions. We do not need to renounce anything. We can do more than what we are doing right now. Get engaged in as much as we want. And you can still be renounced. Happy. And Karam Yoga is the same thing. Karam Yoga means, do everything, do it with the right attitude. Okay? So that was for today.
Karam Yoga and renunciation is kind of almost the similar.
Yeah, that is the insight.
Yeah.
Because the insight is that people used to think, or Arjuna used to think, that renunciation means sannyas.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Bhagwan Krishna is telling him, no.
Mm-hmm.
Karam Yoga is also renunciation, and actually Karam Yoga is better than sannyas, because not only will you be able to renounce, you will deal with the desires that are already there in you. you'll be able to express them, deal with them, get rid of them, rather than go as a sannyasi where they're all bottled up inside you
And keep thinking about it.
you'll keep thinking about it and you'll be able to do nothing with it and you will just get miserable. You'll make no progress at all. But in Karam Yoga, you will make progress. Even if it is like Tony Bhaiya said, one little thing at a time. It's okay.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Chalo, so in 2 weeks.
We shall meet again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Acha, before my doctor siblings go away, I want to ask one question. All three of you, please, थोड़ा सा help कर दो. Madhu Didi, Meeta, Bittu Bhaiya, Rupa. Rani Bhabhi from Bombay had messaged today. Kuku